What's up, guys? Today is Wednesday, June 5th. I lost it for a second. Didn't have a call yesterday. I was down in Georgetown. Went and visited Brett Shakavis. We were looking at assisted care facilities. That was really good. I have a video coming on that. I'm excited for it. Today, I have a special guest with me, fellow mastermind member, John Crutchfield Jr.
That's me.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's Junior, not the second. Or is it?
I'm Junior.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The thing was, he had questions, and I was like, hey, let's just bring it in. He can ask me anything. I don't give a shit, as long as we film it, right? So don't put me under the gun and start grilling me hard questions. But with that, right, like, you can chat about anything.
Like anything?
Man, yeah, except don't get me in trouble, because if you ask me the wrong question, I will go off the rails.
Look, there's a question that came to mind, and I was like, I don't think he wants me to ask him that.
Man,
but there's some cool stuff in here, man.
Thanks,
I'm looking
buddy.
at your setup in the studio in here. It's pretty cool.
I try to be original and piss people off with the small details in the background.
It's pretty cool. I'm like at a 300-day streak on Duolingo, so
nice.
I can read a little Spanish words.
All right, fair enough.
But they say Duolingo is not really Spanish.
So it's more than my wife is from Ecuador.
Okay.
And I can guarantee you right now, you speak more Spanish than I do.
Okay.
Right? So I just know when I'm in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When she starts talking Spanish, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and starts grilling me.
Well, good deal. I appreciate you being so open and us get to chat a little bit.
No, absolutely. Thank you for wanting to. I usually sit here and just chat by myself, so this is good to have a sounding board, right? Something to actually cue off of.
That could be hard. That could be hard. Well, I've got like some topics that I want to like touch on.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if we've got a chance to like sit down, but just like quick recap. You know, I'm holding, 300 plus rentals right now. I've been buying using the BRRRR strategy. And so
that's how we first met.
That's how we first met.
When I was back being a lender.
You were a lender. I was buying from like New Western, and that tells you. But I was buying, deals that made sense for me, and renovating them, then finding lenders to refi out. And I just kind of did that on steroids. So then I started finding people that have groups and packages of houses and doing them in groups.
You just, correct me if I'm wrong, you just completed one, right? Didn't I see a Facebook post where you just finished a refi?
Yeah, we're buying and refining. Like I have a business. We do it, every month we buy and refi stuff. So that's the model. Nowadays, I really like the bigger deals. So I like a package of 30 houses or apartment complex. That's what that was. Was a 66-unit apartment complex, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we'll turn the units and then we'll go back to a bank and refi. But I want to get in the deal at a good price, do the renovations, and come back and get all my capital out. So that's the like core of my business is we still buy rentals. Problem is, a couple years ago, rates went from 4.5 to 8.5. I think that post,
overnight.
That's what that post was about. It really felt like it was overnight.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Like people were warning us.
It took 6 months. You heard 6 months of people yelling and sounding the bells that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you had about 3 months of some people not pushing rates up. But then when they finally started climbing, it went quick, where every week we were getting another rate increase. And I'm not talking just a small rate increase. I'm talking high, and you're kicking him up. So then after that, everybody's playing catch up.
Chase the rates.
Yeah, it was really shitty. That's what got me out of lending. I actually lost a lot of, not you, but I had some great clients that I would only answer the phone for on Sundays, after hours. Fuck you, Will. All these things, right? Like I would go above and beyond,
Yeah.
and then once rates changed, and I'm talking, I would lose people over 1/8 of a point.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there building people's portfolios, right? And they're going to turn around and kick me to the curb. I was like, fuck it. So I started building my own portfolio.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I heard that rates were going to go up, and I was borrowing a lot of money, but I wasn't really paying attention to, like, nobody really thought. I thought, okay, when they start to raise, we're going to have time to kind of, but when they started to raise, and then every month it was higher and higher, and then it got volatile. So, like, I remember some refis I did when they started to go up were at like 8.5, and then the next month it would be like 7, and then it would be like 10, and now it's like 8.5 or 8. We can get a little bit lower than 8 right now too, but it just changed.
Yeah.
So that really made me start to look at like how much. Okay, deals slow down because we can't do as many of the deals. People stop moving, so there's not as much volume of activity. So now I got to look at like what my actual cash flow is, and I have a lot of thoughts about people who build businesses on rental cash flow and who sell courses, say you're making $200 or $300 a month a house, and actually trying to build a business on that.
It gets very difficult when taxes go up.
It doesn't pass the sniff test. It really doesn't.
It does when they're doing it right, okay? When you're telling everybody and everybody's out there refinancing at 80% and 80% at 8.5, and then, rates go up. But not only that, taxes and living expenses go up. Taxes and insurance have gone up how many times? So that's what's really being the pain point right now, right?
Yeah.
You have investors that were at 80% now doubled insurance, doubled taxes.
Yep.
You can't double your tenant. You can't just automatically do that. Yeah, you can push them up 10%, or you can get new tenants in and throw it up 20%, but still, there's a limit to how much you can push your rent.
And then if you were really good at buying at the right price, then you were also pulling a little bit out to live off of, in your refis. So there is some transactional income coming from just the volume of deals, right? That's gone. So now I've had to try to figure out and pivot into other active income streams that keep the team paid, keep me paid, and keep, just the debt paid for all these rentals. And a good way to look at it, like that deal that you saw last week, like a good way to look at it is, if you had a $2 million loan and it was on a 12-year AM, because it was such a good deal, right? 12-year AM at 4%, your payment was probably something like $18,000 a month, right? If you go to 8.5 and that same debt, your payment's now $36,000 a month, unless you re-amortize it, right? Unless you redo something. That's a big difference with, a very small number. So if you multiply that at 10 times the portfolio value, your whole life changes with this rate increase. So now I've had to start trying to figure out how to create active income. And we know how to find deals, we know how to make offers. So I ran across you in your community, and I'm trying to figure out how to build a business that is active income instead of $200-300 a house. Like, let's figure out how we can create, $200,000-300,000 a month from active deal flow. So that's what I want to talk to you about.
All right. There's a lot of things to dissect there.
So I can ask the questions the way that I kind of put them in my phone.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
Maybe just tell you how I have it in my head, and then you could tell me how you might do it.
Okay.
So lately, there's a lot of.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you questions about your current business, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Your team, right?
Yes.
They're doing outbound deal finding. It sounds like they know what your avatar is, what you're looking for in a deal, what that package looks like, what your criteria, what your buy box is, or whatever bullshit term wholesalers want to use. they have their criteria and they know how to go and outbound search for it.
Yes.
How do you have them doing that, right?
So right now, I'm doing a little bit of everything to see what sticks.
Right.
So the core way that we find deals right now is I have virtual assistants, have 4 of them, that basically pull lists of people who are high equity. They are maybe own the property a long time. They're out-of-state owners. The typical stuff we pull, and they call them, ask them if they have anything to sell. Basically, we're trying to see not just about the property that we're calling about, but anything they know about. It's kind of like what we do. And that's how I found a lot of stuff, is just calling and starting conversations. Like we're not really property specific. We have what we get in the data, but we're really just trying to call people who own more than one, because that's been my avatar. They're older than 40 years old and they own more than one property and they've owned them for longer periods of time. And they're tired.
Yeah,
Those
they're
are my
tired
people.
landlords and they have a portfolio that they want to get rid of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Classic way that our team gets the deal. Yesterday, they cold call a list. The property that they're calling about, the guy wants too much. The VA says, hey, but do you have anything that actually we can make money off of? And because this guy is in the business, he gets it. He's like, oh, send somebody to go look at this one. And so we get a contract on that. So right now, my team, that's how we find deals, is VAs.
All right.
But we're doing PBC to try. We're trying the PPL. We're trying everything right now because it's easy for me to buy a $100,000 house that has $100,000 in equity in it. It's harder right now when I'm trying to think, okay, I've got to flip this deal to somebody else and convince them to pay me a wholesale fee, right?
So you want to, so correct me if I'm wrong, you want to stay in your burring strategy. You want to stay in the buy and refinance goal, right? Is that what you're trying to go? So if you found a deal for $100,000, you would still refinance that at 150?
High equity deals, we're still refinancing. Now, yes and no. Okay. Why I'm talking to you is because once we refi that property and we put it on a 70% loan to value, we may make $200 or $300 on that property, right? And the problem with that is you just don't make enough money fast enough. I have plenty of rentals. So
yeah. Well, that's why I'm trying to get my head around what your goals are, right? That's what I want.
The typical deal that I'm wanting to do now is I want to create those larger pops of income from either flipping the property or wholesaling the property.
Okay, all right. So you want to go into more of a quicker transaction to fill the piggy bank.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. A burr for me, like a burr would be
just another Monday.
4 to 6 months is really what it looks like. And, a wholesale could be 30 days, so I'd like to do more of the 30-day cash creation than the 4 to 6 months.
Which is very smart, right? In today's market in particular, where I'm screaming every day, telling everybody not to get into a renovation that's more than 90 days, right? So if you're into anything past 90 days, right, you better really make sure it's a home run. Otherwise, run from the hills for it or wholesale it, right? There's no reason to be in that deal unless it's a 6-figure home run with very little downside, because I don't trust anything beyond that. Even if we're doing burrs, right, the rates, I don't trust rates going into this election that they're going to drop. Yeah, they might drop because somebody needs a boost in the polls, but that doesn't, I'm not betting on that. I'm not betting that this Fed is going to do that, right? So we got a lot of things going on in this market that there's so much unknown.
I would have thought rates would have dropped by now.
No, they waited too long to raise them.
No.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. But all right, so your questions. I built a picture of what you currently do and what you're looking for in your avatar and your team. So now I can kind of
the way I wrote it down was like, there's a lot of conversation going on from people that bought a bunch of rentals. It's like you've got your fast, medium, and slow money. The rentals are the slow money, and you're rich on paper. You got all this what is it called, equity, net worth, but you don't have any cash. So to pivot to the cash, right? is the goal, to pivot to the fast money. So would wholesaling qualify as fast money under that definition? Is that a faster?
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah,
faster
I
way to
mean,
make money?
it is absolutely. You have to realize that it's still a marketing thing. So you still have the team for it. That's what I was trying to get beforehand. Those are my pre-filter questions. It is something that your team can absolutely pivot to and start doing. And I'm surprised that you haven't yet.
So the challenge, and I guess I'll start with the challenge, is that it's way different when we're the buyer for everything. So when we're the buyer, there's dispo is easy, right? When we're the buyer and we have the option to either flip it or renovate it, it's easier. Lately, we're putting things under contract, and I have that block of what if I don't find a buyer, and what if I don't actually fulfill my contract.
So when you're buying these, you're buying them direct to seller?
Yes.
Okay.
90% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're buying them direct to seller and they're off market, okay, depending on the market that you're in, and I'm assuming that you're going to be in DFW, okay, or North Texas in particular, because that's where we are. You're buying it off market. You're buying it at a good discount. I'm going to assume because you are an experienced investor, right? Okay. So as long as you're buying based on some qualifications, I've always said this, even if you're going to wholesale, wholesalers have to know how to buy as an investor. This way they know how to calculate things. This way they can disposition it, right? Your questions, your hesitancy is everything that's going to make you a decent wholesaler. Okay, it's actually going to slow you down a little in the beginning because you're not going to be wholesaling as much. You're not going to be ballsy enough to just go throwing out numbers, and like a lot of these assholes wholesalers will just do things for 2K assignments and drop deals out left and right. All right, you can text half of the sub 2 group and follow up on a creative finance deal. Follow up a couple weeks later and see if they still have it. And they're like, no, I had to drop that. I had to drop that contract. No shit. You should never have got it under contract
At that price,
at those prices.
Yeah.
What I'm getting, and it's a very long, drawn-out answer, is you can find buyers for most deals based on how you're buying. Okay? There are still people out there paying high dollars, right? Because they're going to be a different buyer. They're still going to have their deals that they have to fill their portfolio with, right? They're going to be dentists, and they're going to be 9-to-5s. They're going to be high income earners that just need rentals. Or it's going to be somebody that's buying an off-market or not even off-market. You can turn around and list most of your deals on the MLS. That's a lot. A lot of these people are just doing that, turning around and using the MLS to just disposition it for you.
Right.
Not even novations. Novations is good, but it would be a novation. Sorry, yes, novation on that. Yeah, I started rambling. Cool. But yes, using just the open market, right? Getting them out there in today's availability, they are still getting picked up. So, I'd be, again, I'm like shocked that you haven't, but I not in a bad way. It's just like I know you're already looking at deals. You're already you already have your team set up.
There's a mental block to it, right? Because when you're looking at a deal and you're saying, okay, I see a $50K profit on a flip, but now you have to pivot to a $6,000 profit on a wholesale. It's a different muscle that you're working, and I think we've been slow to accept that.
You can also look at it like there's always the risk reward, right? You can go into things looking at, it's a $50,000 flip profit that you're looking at it, but it's going to be 4 months of a lot of grief. The market can change in that time, right? So for that same deal, all right, I'm not going to close on this one. Just saying that, I'm going to quickly wholesale this.
Yeah.
That $6,000 assignment is going to pay for my marketing for the next month, okay? Because
Yep.
you're at a different level now. So now you can think of deals completely differently, right? You can look at that $6,000 assignment, and that's going to pay for your 4 cold callers for the next month, right?
Right.
And then now we just have to find another deal or two, right? So you're not trying to completely offset your business. You're just trying to supplement.
Yep.
Okay, you're trying to add more disposition strategies to you already have the acquisition side set up, right? You're just trying to add more dispositions now.
So how do you decide like which deals you're going to wholesale versus flip? Is there a formula you're using, or is it just gut feeling or timing?
Ours, it's timing. Okay, how long we're gonna be into it for? What's the turn time on it? It's also the location.
Okay.
Okay, am I gonna want to hold on to a piece of property in that location? Yes, no, maybe. Do I want to have to travel? Are my crews wanting to travel there? Okay. What's the demographics for the renters there, right? If we're going to be turning into a rental, am I going to want to have tenants in that area that are, if you're out in Paris, right? A lot of times you're dealing with druggies, so you got to pick and choose. A lot of times, like in the past year, we've been changing a lot of ours to a lot of quicker, more transactional base, just because we don't like the market. We don't like that long-term stuff.
So that was one of my questions. So this is great. I got you. Okay, so your business right now, you're primarily, are you a flipper? Are you an investor? You're a wholesaler? What would you call yourself? Like
Investor. And that's what you are first. That's
Okay.
what everybody should be, okay? And that's what every wholesaler online should be too. You have to look at properties as an investor first. Yes, you can wholesale properties. That's fine. All right, if you're investing on the stock market, you can do options, you can do shorts, you can calls, you can do anything, right? You can do a lot of different shit, but you're still an investor. Okay, you can just buy bonds and be an investor. Okay, put that hat on first, because you're going to be talking directly to sellers. If that's the case, you're going to be making promises to them. Okay, you need to understand how you can help them. That means all the ways out of this property, right? So if I get it locked up, they trust me that I'm going to solve their problems, that I'm going to get it taken care of. They don't give a shit if I'm going to wholesale it, or if I'm going to close on it, or if I'm going to refinance it, or if I'm going to find a note buyer, or anything, right? That doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is that I solve their problems, that I come in there and I stop a foreclosure, and then we buy the house from them. As long as A and B happens, that's it, right? So as an investor, you have to understand how to do that. You can still wholesale it all day long. The disposition strategy doesn't matter. It's the upfront, how you look at things and how you evaluate them, and everything else after that is just a disposition strategy.
But you're wholesaling more than you're flipping now.
Right now, yes, just because prices of construction is through the roof. We're down to 2 crews.
Okay.
I'm not trying to keep 6 crews anymore, right? We've changed our business model. And I always say that you have to be able to pivot and adapt.
This is a pivoting conversation.
Yeah.
This is an adapt conversation.
It's perfect though, right?
Yeah.
You always have to. I mean, it goes for everything, right? If you set your goals, if your Q1 goal is X, and you realize 2 months into it that you're not going to meet it, you have 1 more month left, you have to pivot. What's going to drastically change? Well, A, I'm either going to have to change my goal and be realistic about it and say, hey, I'm not going to hit that goal. What can I hit and how can I hit it? And then reverse engineer and then hit that last month accordingly. Or you change everything, right? I'm kind of rambling.
No, I
hope this is helpful.
It's helpful. I think in the market that we were in before, you didn't have to think that way.
No,
But
but
see, like I'm not a.
you were spoiled though.
I was spoiled.
And you had people, you had your lenders out there. I would tell people, I was refinancing house. I was doing 30 refinances a month, and I would tell my borrowers everything. Every day, you have to refinance to your business, right? So some people wanted to maximize to 80%, and I would literally have to talk people down from that and go, maybe you should be pulling back to 65%, sir. You don't need all this cash right now. It would be better. And I guarantee you they're thanking me right now because they got like a 4% rate and they're at 60% and tax and insurance is double, but there's still cash flowing.
Yeah,
Right?
that
So
that definitely helps. If you're thinking like that back then, I think some of us now are thinking like I know I'm thinking about it now because you're forced to think about it.
it was
you know.
it was difficult because at the time, everybody was floating down the river, high-fiving each other, drinking beers, and
Yeah.
just, we're fucking crushing it,
Yeah.
And the river slowly dried up. And then when the river started changing, there were people that got up and said, hey, let's go get a John boat or something. And other people didn't change and adapt, and they're just stuck in that same river now, right?
Yeah.
So there are changes, right, that you can easily make, which is the good thing. You're not having to start over, right? You're not having to
Yeah,
do anything
definitely not.
differently.
All right, so let's talk about your team. So that was one of the questions I asked that prompted us to talk in person. You know, your team, you're using VAs?
Nope.
No,
No.
all inbound. Okay. Yeah.
I failed miserably with VAs.
Okay.
By the way, guys, if anybody out there has a question, anybody
y'all.
has a comment, drop a question, and we'll always throw it in there. Tommy, can you check on the air, or just turn the fan to reciprocating or whatever?
Yeah.
Team questions. Sorry, we
Yeah.
don't use VAs.
Okay.
I just hired a VA. It was horrible. It was so bad. I hired a VA. I was confident. I thought it would be easy. I was just going to get, she's going to do X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. You if you hire a VA, you have to be able to manage them. It's a whole nother system. It's a whole nother muscle.
Yes.
Okay. So I started walking with 2 left feet pretty much for a week, and I realized I don't have that muscle right now. I would have to set it up. I would have to get the systems involved. So I cut it out.
So right now, all inbound marketing. So I know I've heard you mention Lead Zolo. I've seen you walk through.
we
You need to
do
sell my house
a
fast.
mix of PPL and PPC. PPC is our main big spender.
Okay.
That is the one that we do the bulk on. I do not recommend that.
Okay.
Okay? I tell everybody, if you get into real estate or anything, if you get into any form of marketing and you get into any form of sales and your first thing is to try to get into PPC, you better understand your goals, why you want to do it. Are you trying to brand yourself, right? That's a big thing. As a real estate company, I don't have to brand myself. They don't have to click on my ad for me to get the call, which is kind of cool. I don't have to have that big head feel. None of our websites show my face or anything like that, right? Which is cool. But at the same time, when you're getting into PPC, it's a very high upfront cost. You can either hire somebody to run it for you, and then you're only, you're paying them, and then you're paying your fee on top of it. Up front, you're not going to see a lot of return on it. You're going to have to stumble through a couple months till you get your campaign actually optimized and stuff. All this while, you are burning a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money. And usually where people fail in PPC is the first thing they do is they shut it down. They said, I spent 20 grand and I didn't get one phone call. Okay. If you shut it down, you literally, you spent 20 grand and got no phone calls. But if you don't shut it down, at least you will get something eventually. What that means is your campaign matters. The age of your campaign matters, okay? So having a seasoned campaign, all of these things matter. That's where the tweak and make changes and keep going, just always keep going. That's where all this comes from. So in PPC, once you start, don't stop. Just make final minor tweaks, start adding keywords. We started getting calls, a couple of years ago, we were getting calls for bounce houses. Because we never thought, I want to sell my bounce house, and we came up and somebody called us. It cost us $500 for that phone call. We can't go and complain to a PPL company and say, hey, this was a bad lead, I want a refund.
Right.
No, that's my fault. I should have had bounce house as a negative keyword. I never thought I would need to, but it went in the hopper after. So that was a $500 mistake, right? It's one of those things that it's a very costly education program.
Right. So instead of the outbound VAs where you're basically paying hourly, you have that expense all the time. You have a marketing expense that brings in inbound leads, and then you have a team fielding those leads. Like base, all commission.
Everything we do is commission based.
Everything. So you got to go get it.
Yeah, you eat what you kill.
Yeah.
But I'm also, we do high-end sales training and such, right? So that's what sets us apart is the sales training. But no, we're very eat what you kill. We're going to provide all of the leads and stuff, but it's on them for follow-up. It's on them for origination and following them down, tracking them if there's any issues. I don't hire TCs.
Okay.
My team does their own TCs in a sense. So there's some plus and minus to that. A lot of wholesalers, their first step is hiring a TC. That I'm highly against, especially with VAs. My wife works for a title company. You mention a VA to my wife, and she will cut you. Because VAs are the worst. They don't know. Again, it's that they're robots, right? They don't understand everything. So you tell them, hey, I need you to check up on this file. They're going to check up on the file, but they don't understand why so they're going to call the title company and just badger them, trying to get all these things, but they don't understand the things that they're actually trying to piece together. My sales team, they know if there's a AOH, right? Affidavit of heirship that needs to get filled out. They're already the main point of contact with the seller, right? They're already the ones making the rapport building and all that. So they're the ones that are gonna get the signatures needed so they can get paid, right? Like they're doing all that work.
How do you find these people? How do you find somebody willing to work for commission only? Seems like everybody, I gotta have a base.
No, it's tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And a lot of times in the beginning, you kind of have to give them like an upfront here until you get them off and running. But there's people out there.
Is there a certain number of inbound leads? I told you I was going to ask you a question.
No, it's fine.
Is there a certain number of leads
like that
you promise that
no.
you feel like is a good number for them to have a shot?
No, that's a good thing. I probably should. I'm happy. I hope they're not watching this.
Okay.
No. But no, that is something that I absolutely should have for them, right?
Okay.
I think I do a damn good job of making sure that they always have that, right?
Okay.
So that is something that we're very on top of. Every day all right, what came in last night? Right? I'm trying to I constantly keep a pulse on things. So if things start going quiet, you know why, and then you can address it in account, right?
So you feel like it's your responsibility to make sure that leads are coming in.
Yeah. If that's my system, if that's the business I built, if my team, if I'm saying, hey, you're going to work on commission only, but we're going to provide X, Y, Z, they know they can bring me anything that they bring me. They can generate outbound, right? They can go network, bring a deal in, and I will pay them extra, right? Like they'll double or different or whatever, right? Or give me first right of refusal and whatever, right? They are encouraged to do that, right? I say, hey, if you do a cold call lead, I'll pay you double, right? Like, just trying to get more. I don't know what word to use.
Activity.
But yeah, like
maybe
it's more. I'm a big like coach, right? Sports,
Okay.
trying to just get
Motivation.
team motivation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Time, like I don't want to say team building,
Yeah.
but like that type of thing, right? Like just trying to get more activity, and as long as you can try to make it fun and not be a dick about it, that is where a lot of times people overstep. They think that they have to micromanage. They are way too high in on KPIs and all that, and I'm not talking bad about them. You absolutely need to know them. But when it comes down to managing a team and having a team that actually wants to work for you, you got to keep them happy first.
Yeah.
So that is definitely my job, is
Okay.
making sure that they are provided for.
Culture, making sure that they have what they need to get the job done.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So, all right. How do you set your marketing budget? Because, I know like you can spend a lot of money when you start down this
You gotta
paying for
reverse
leads
engineer it.
thing. Yeah. Okay.
You got to reverse engineer it. You got to know how many offers you need to make, how many leads you need, right? It's the whole marketing funnel. Okay. So if you know you need 5 deals, right, a month, well, and then you just reverse engineer it. That 5 deals a month, that means I have to make 20 offers, right? If I have a 20% success, I'm
Yeah,
making shit up as I
Yeah.
go up magically with my hand.
But how do you do it though? How do
We've been doing it for years, and we've always just adjusted, right? Because we've had it going for so long. We've got everything, right? I have JV deals. I have a lot of different marketing budgets.
Okay.
So when you're first starting out, though, this is how you have to do it, right? When you fuck, I just went off on a tangent.
Yeah. So the question was, how many leads?
Yeah, no,
I mean,
all right.
is
So,
there a marketing budget
sorry. That's what the reverse engineering of your marketing channel, right? If you need 10,000 mail pieces to go out, and you have a 2% response rate, and I don't know what 2% of 10,000 is, but I think it's 200.
Yeah.
And then you're going to close on 5% of that. So that's 10 deals. Yay, that was good in my head.
Yeah.
Right, so what does 10,000 mail pieces look like? Well,
Yeah.
that's probably 10 grand a month. If you're spending $1, that's not a bad marketing budget. Does that actually get you the 5 deals? Is 5 deals your need? If that's the case, you're going to need a higher marketing budget then, right? I have things. We made tools for the mastermind, right, where you can kind of plug and play your different marketing channels and kind of get what your estimated return would be. But that's how you literally have to sit there and reverse engineer it. And we can set you up with the Excel spreadsheet
Okay.
to actually do that.
So PPC right now is your core of where you're getting leads from right now. Okay. But you don't advise that to start.
No, because again, why?
Yeah.
You're gonna try to go and get somebody to click on the grab the map link, right? Okay, that's gonna cost you so much to compete against everybody else that's trying to do the same thing right out of the gate. And that's okay, but out of the gate, it's such an upfront cost. You have to go set up websites, you have to make sure everything's connected, you have to pay somebody to do all this, and then you have to make sure you're actually having a successful campaign.
Right.
You have to learn shit that you never even thought of, right? Yes, you can be very successful doing that, but it's a very high risk. And when you're first starting out, all of your marketing budget shouldn't be going to trying to learn something new, right? It should be, hey, listen, you're already going to have a challenge dispoing.
Yeah.
Why make acquisitions and marketing all of a sudden different and harder for you?
Yeah.
Right.
If you already have a system that you're using. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and you can keep that same system, and instead of trying to go spend 10 grand to pay somebody, 10 to 20 grand is going to be a decent to low budget, but 10 to 20 grand a month to have somebody run your PPC that you're probably not going to get a goddamn phone call for until month 2, right? Or take half of that budget and put it on, what was it, Need to Sell My House Fast, or Lead Zolo, or another PPL company that they're already doing that. They already have the marketing going to this, so you're just sprinkling into their kitty, and you're getting leads on a dial, right? On a round robin, pretty much. So make sure they're not duplicating leads. They're not reselling your deals or anything like that. That's the only thing. So, and if they are, make sure you know why.
Do you talk to any sellers or just your team?
I do. I do it on the live calls. I'll come in here and I'll work live Lead Zolo leads. I try not to.
Yeah.
Right? It's not my specialty. Why would I?
Yeah.
Jessica's got a sweeter voice than me.
Yeah.
Mason's got a way sweeter tongue than me. I curse too much. Everybody has to have their proficiencies. I'm a systems guy. I run the systems. I like that. I like building the lists. I can talk to sellers all day long, but there's no need for me to. When we were first starting out, I got into real estate. I was doing the loans, and then I would help Tony with the origination side of our deals. But he was the one going out. We would sit there on couches, and I wouldn't say a word. Right? I would sit there and I would listen. I would fill in gaps. I would just be a human, but I didn't have to talk. Why would I? Again, I don't have a pride thing. I can very easily sit in the back seat and let somebody be that professional. Let them do their job. I don't micromanage.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What haven't I asked you that I need to ask?
I don't know.
Let's see here. What else I got? I got some more now. So you are keeping rentals.
We have rentals.
Every now and then.
Right now, there's not a property that I'm looking at that I want to refinance. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
None of our deals are we even evaluating with rentals. The
Property
rentals that I
taxes, insurance
have,
is high right now.
the rentals that I have, I'm thinking about fucking selling.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're just a pain in the ass. And I don't have hundreds of them.
Yeah.
We only started a couple of years ago when I was like, all right, let's just start this one, that one. We weren't trying to do them all. We weren't refinancing and everything. Let's add a couple. So we got about 10, and then, you know what? Rates went up. I'm good. Tenants now, I want to shoot them. I'm good.
What's cool about it, though, is some of that stuff I bought when I met you has doubled in value, but so has the expenses. So you could actually get more cash out of it today when the tenants move just by putting it on the market.
Yeah. No, and I used to say everybody has to refinance their business, right? And every time you take a rental and you put it in your portfolio, it's like taking a bar of gold and just put it in your pocket, right? Every one of them eventually is going to be worth a bar of gold, right? You just have to wait a little bit longer. Maybe some of them are going to cash flow like a hog up front. Some of them are going to be your tax write-offs. Some are going to randomly burn down. Some are going to fucking have parties in the middle of the night that you have the neighbors called on you. All different shit, right? Some are going to have squatters in them. But it just, at the end of them, value keeps on going up, and that's the beauty of them. You eventually you can take them, and you can do a bunch of different things. You can take your entire portfolio, go to a bank, and say, I'll give you these, just give me money, right? And they'll literally take them as collateral and give you a line of credit. And then you're just, all right, now I'm just going to be a hard money lender. Right? Now I'm going to sit back and just lend to other people. I'm tired of on the acquisitions side. I'm tired of this, that, the other. I just want to lend 12 and 2 and just...
All kind of ways to get it, right?
They're bars of gold. Once you realize that, this goes back to the being an investor first, right? Once you realize that properties are just bars of gold, then you can do anything with it. Your acquisition side, instead of doing rentals, why don't you do note deals? right? Why don't you start doing creative finance deals where you find people and then buy them, and then you're turning around creating paper and then selling the paper, right? There's always a different way to do it, and still get paid on it.
Yeah.
As long as you're buying direct to seller and you're getting it cheap enough, right?
You got to get it.
Any disposition strategy is possible.
Gotcha. So your business right now, you're flipping some, you're wholesaling some, but you also do some notes and
Yeah, we're doing a bunch of
whatever works for that particular deal.
the rentals that we're keeping. I'm not refinancing; they're sub 2 deals.
Okay.
We've take down a couple sub 2 deals and then throw those in the portfolio.
Yeah.
But
Because you've got the fixed debt on them already, so
yeah,
you're okay with disposition of them that way.
well, I'm on that side. I don't have to refinance them. I'm kind of buying them with a built-in rate on them.
Okay.
So my whole rule of thumb on that is as long as we can make our money back in 12 months, 12 to 15 months, then it's a pretty decent deal for us. But it's not like I'm going to go spend 30 grand to buy a sub 2. But if I have to negotiate it on the front side, my team will, and then we'll just keep it, or no, most of those we're going to keep. I don't want to say we're going to sign those.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So I love real estate, just having to pivot a little bit.
No, and there's
Just having
no
to switch to
who's your wholesale? Your VAs. They're doing outbound. They mark a lead hot, and then they kick it off to you,
They
or
kick it off to me, but I have someone in my office who's, what we call a acquisition manager.
okay, perfect.
Difference is I'm paying them a salary, so that's something that I've floated back and forth.
There's always a good side. There's always a bad side, right? I mean,
pros and cons to it for sure.
I'm not going to talk down against anything.
Yeah. But as we've been doing more of the inbound leads, I've had a VA that's helping with those because we're getting more leads.
No, leads are up in even our inbound stuff, right? And our outbound marketing, whatever you want to call inbound, outbound. A lot of ours leads are through the roof. Quality is down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on the PPC side. That's on the PPL side too. That's only going to keep on getting worse as pain starts going high in the entire market. Okay, they're mostly just retail leads. A lot of times people are just calling. They need to sell their house.
Top dollar.
It has to be top dollar. They just bought it 2 years ago. They don't understand that the property values have decreased in their neighborhood. Holy shit, that's a long conversation to have. But it's those conversations that people are having to have. My team's very good at, and that's why we're so well. So your acquisitions person, are they doing the follow-up too? Are they doing...
They're doing everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your...
When I say follow-up, we have virtual assistants that try to keep nurturing the leads, make sure they're warm as possible for when he gets on the phone with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
After that he takes them, is there some pattern or something where it goes back to the VAs or somebody? What I'm getting at is my team, they know, don't stop following up until they tell you to fuck off, and then you go door knock them, right? Like, you just keep on following up. You got to realize a lot of these people, that avatar, they need to sell. So as long as you can help them, all right, the deal makes sense. The retail ones, all of those are very difficult. But what I'm saying, a lot of these times, people like to bury their heads in the sand. So they'll raise their head, they'll flag once, they'll come out, they'll answer a VA, they'll fill out a form online, they'll do something, they'll call a postcard, and then they'll bury their head in the sand again. And so many times people don't understand that whole cheesy line, right? The money's in the follow-up. It's so easy to say, but like that bullshit is so true. We'll go through every 6 months, like take the leads that we haven't talked to in forever and then just put them back in the top of our funnel and just run them back through. And we'll start getting more dings again, right? Like you'll be so shocked how people just go silent.
Yeah.
To where we'll pass them back and forth between Jessica and Mason. Pass phones back and forth. They'll answer Jessica's phone, but not Mason's, or the kids will come and grab my phone and call them from my phone randomly or text them. So all of that works, right? Like trying to change your pattern too.
Yeah.
Another thing is you have to be touching them at least 3 different ways. So I don't know if you're only doing cold calls, but make sure that they're, if it's possible, right, you're touching them some other way. So
like text.
I don't want to say text because text is really shitty right now,
Okay.
but text, it would be a one way, right? My team text. So what we do is we'll text them, we'll call them, we'll text them, we'll email them, we'll door knock them if we need to, we'll send them a postcard. So depending on what type of lead, the ones that were warm and then ghosted, those would be ones that we'll sit down, we'll send a postcard to maybe. It's having your funnels and having a defined funnels at each step. This is what's going to happen, right? You have to really set up your workflows.
That's the systems guy.
No, that it's true though, right? You have to look at everything like analytical in a system. It's very hard to then go tell Mason, "Hey Mason, did you send that guy a postcard?" No. All right. Well, you got to be a dick and then kick him in the ass, but you have to have systems in place because they work.
Yeah.
Right? That's why everybody has them. That's why the top tier has them.
Yeah, we're using like Go High Level.
That's a great one. I use
like some automations, and we try to keep the warm ones in certain pockets, and then the 3-month, 6-month follow up stuff like that.
Perfect.
Trying.
No,
but you got to force yourself to use that system for sure.
I tell everybody, a CRM is only as good as the one you use. Okay, so the fact that you're using is awesome. I never talk down about a CRM unless it's Podio. As long as you're putting it in some way, hey, you know these people are somewhere, and that you have to touch them eventually, right? Or hey, what happened to such and such? Oh, they're here, right? You know, you're walking them through a journey in a sense, from introduction to selling your house. It's just fun and difficult.
Well, good deal, man. So you're going to keep doing this. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's working. Okay. That's good.
Got nothing else to do. Sit here anyway. So.
What's the next big thing? What's the next big thing you're working on?
Assisted living. We're looking at building a couple assisted care facility mansions somewhere in North Dallas.
Okay.
I have a video recap from the Brett Chikavis interviews that I'm going to be posting out, kind of rolling out more information on that. But I don't like rentals just because I don't like tenants right now. I don't like being a landlord. They get a bad rap. Even you can be the best landlord in the world, you're still getting a bad rap. Doesn't matter. I kind of like what I saw yesterday was what I really liked. Okay, I have great aunts and I have a lot of elderly family that are put in these homes, and I know what those homes look like, and they are horrible.
Yeah.
The home that I was in yesterday was not that. I walked in, these old grandma and grandpas were playing a giant beach ball, like kicking it back and forth. They're all listening to Mambo Number 5 on the TV. They were alive, right? Like it was totally. I didn't feel like I was walking into a death den. It felt like when I walk and I go visit any of my aunts, I'm like, oh, this is miserable. You get skeeved out. Those people don't. They have something still to live for. So I want to try to provide that.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. We'll see how it goes. So that's got about an 18-month build out. So hopefully within 24 months we'll be up and running.
It's a big need.
It is. It definitely is. Especially, I don't know any of them in the North Dallas area that really put up. A lot of them just look like small hotels, and they're just parking lots. They're concrete jungles, and I don't like them. So we'll try to provide something.
Well, I appreciate you, man. This is good.
Man, I really appreciate it. You don't have any more questions or anything?
Man, I'm sure I will.
Oh, well,
I'm sure
if you
I
need
will.
anything, you're part of the group. Just always put a ping out there, and
Yeah.
we'll follow up.
Yeah, that's good. Hopefully some people can get some help from my questions.
That was my whole goal, right? Like, I knew
Yeah.
you were going to ask questions, and I knew I was going to have to repeat them eventually because they were going to be good. So
Yeah.
we can knock it all out in one.
I got some notes, and I'll still be on there posting questions. Watch. It's part of my lunchtime.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Your 1 o'clock is great for my lunchtime.
I was wondering if I need to move it, but I'm like, I like the 1 o'clock, so because I know others are in like 5 and 10, or it's 6 and 7, so I'm gonna keep it at 1. I like it.
Well, good deal, man. Thanks
Guys,
again.
thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If anybody needs anything, I'm always here weekly. REIAF.com. June 20th is our in-person, in-house mastermind event. Is the Dispositions event. Check it out on Eventbrite. Let me know if you guys need anything.
Will you do this for other people?
Peace.
If other
Yeah.
people have questions, you'll do
Yeah.
this? There might
Absolutely.
be some people that would do that.
I tell everybody all the time. You'd be surprised. I sit here and I squawk all the time. Let me know if you have any questions. Nobody. They just stay silent.
Okay.
So,
Well, good deal. Thanks again, man.
absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I need to fix the AC.
I feel it. It's kind of cool in here.
Nah, it did. It cooled down.